So in this video series, I'm going to be talking about how to get into a position of doing multi-million dollar deals, especially if you have no money and using only your phone and your laptop. Now, when I say no money, I mean you still need to have a place to stay, and you still need to have basic amenities, and you still need to have the food and all of those things. So when I say no money, I don't literally mean no money, but not a significant amount of money. If you have a phone and a laptop, if you have and a place where you're staying and you can move around, you have a car or you have access to transportation, in that scenario, this is something that can be extremely valuable to you, the information that I'm about to reveal. And just a little bit of an introduction about my background. I started a company at the age of 26, and within the first year, I got into a position of being involved in a $10 million transaction, a $3 million transaction, a $110 million transaction, a $120 million transaction, and a $25 million transaction. The $25 million transaction came the second year. So the first year was the remaining ones. And I did that in a matter of a few months. And if you watch this whole series, you will understand that you can too. So this information is not something that I can reveal to you within 5-10 minutes, like many of the YouTubers do it, just, quickly speaking, and they just tell you how to do it. But even after the video, you don't exactly know how to do it. This video is not going to be about that. I am going to step by step guide you into how it actually works, so that you have a complete understanding of how it works. You may not be able to execute yet, because obviously there are finer details that may take hours and hours to get into. There are many technicalities, but I will go in significant amount of depth as to how it's done, how I did it, and more importantly, how I helped one of my students, one of my mentees, to do it. So stay tuned, and this series is we are going to get into depths of doing multi-million dollar deals. So when I say multi-million dollar deals, what exactly am I talking about? Is it, there could be several multi-million dollar deals. You could sell a private jet, you could sell a yacht, you could sell a piece of real estate, which is very popular, or you could sell a car, sports car, or you could sell a company. And in this context, in this video, when I talk about multi-million dollar deal, I'm talking about buying or selling a company. So a transaction value of $1 million plus. That's what I'm referring to when I say multi-million dollar deal. So this entire series is going to be just about that, and how I used my phone and my laptop to get access to these transactions. First of all, these transactions are not something that happen publicly. Even real estate, if you get into the real estate market, if you want to buy a house, that could be easily $1 million deal. But those transactions are more public. There are websites, there are brokerage firms, there are brokerage websites where you can see these properties, and it's pretty open and it's pretty transparent, and hence there is more competition for those types of deals. And that's why everybody keeps talking about real estate. What I'm talking about is mergers and acquisitions, where companies are bought and sold. Now you might say, or you might think that Okay, even mergers and acquisitions are pretty public. We see on Google, Twitter was acquired by Elon Musk, or WhatsApp was acquired by Facebook. Those are deals done by public companies. That's the reason they are on in the media so much. But most of the time when these deals happen, when one company acquires another company, assuming they both are private companies, very likely that information is not going to come out. And in fact, even the customers that are buying from that company may not all be aware that that company has just been sold. So this is a very sort of confidential type of transactions that are happening in your city, in your country, wherever you're from. It doesn't matter. Wherever there are businesses, they are bought and they are sold. Now, I know there are websites where you can go and try to look for those businesses, but once again, those are few deals that are available publicly, but most of the deals happen in private, one-on-one. And individuals who are involved in this kind of activities, they are not all on Instagram and they are not all on YouTube. In fact, they don't want to be in the limelight. They want to be secretive, and they don't want this information coming out. They don't want anybody to know what price the company was bought at, what were the terms, and which company was it. They don't want to disturb that ecosystem. They want to keep it as it is. So what I'm about to talk to you in this video is going to be about those types of deals, buying companies. And if you look at all the items that are bought and sold in this world today, the largest, whatever the item that gets sold for the largest amount, is always companies. There are companies that are being sold for $20 billion. You cannot show me a house that's worth $20 billion. I think the largest house is $1 billion or $1.5 billion. But companies, one company can be sold for 20 billion, for 40 billion, So when you talk about trading, buying and selling of things, companies are the largest size of items that can be bought and sold on this planet. Why is that? Because companies are, in essence, cash machines. They are ecosystems that produce revenue, that produce capital. And based on how fast those companies produce that capital, how stable those revenues are, and how long the company is in business, and the size of the company, all of these factors determine what's the value of the company. So this is a pathway to get rich in the shortest amount of time possible, because you're buying something that's huge in size. Doesn't mean it's not time consuming. Doesn't mean it's going to come easy. Doesn't mean it's going to come without a hard work. And doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight. But it's much faster to buy a multi-million-dollar company, because it's just a transfer of ownership with some financing involved, obviously, and there are other technicalities. I'm oversimplifying here, but it's much faster for you to buy a multi-million-dollar business than to create one from scratch. To create a multi-million-dollar business, it can take a whole decade, and it still may not happen. And the entire entrepreneurship ecosystem these days is all around innovation. Innovation. And people are trying to innovate. And innovation is very risky and capital intensive. So this is one of the biggest reasons why individuals are entrepreneurs are failing is because they're trying to set up a business from scratch where already there is established competition. You are being an underdog. You don't want to get into business being an underdog. So I'm creating this background so that whatever I'm about to say, you can relate to it from this perspective. If you are someone who is interested in building wealth, the fastest possible way and the most stable and sort of low risk way, there's always going to be risk involved. But if you compare with anything else, if you want to make tens of millions, hundreds of millions, this is a pathway that I have found, I have discovered, and honestly, I haven't seen anything else that can get you there or get anyone there faster than buying companies. Because these are large ecosystems of people, of services that are already working, that are in demand. People are coming and have a relationship with the company. And I'm talking about acquiring companies that could be 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old. And the owner of the business is old, and he cannot run, he cannot operate. And these are not tech companies. These are not marketing companies. These are not these freshly new age idea companies. These are boring businesses. These are brick and mortar businesses where there is a physical office. It's a very boring infrastructure. And boring is good because boring just means that people don't have their attention on it. And that's the perfect opportunity for an upcoming entrepreneur to enter in that space. So these types of businesses are typically run by people who have surpassed 60, 70 years of age. And in most cases, their children are studying outside the country. Maybe they're married somewhere, and they want nothing to do with the business. In some cases, their children want to continue the legacy of the parents, but in most cases, they want to go pursue something else because they've seen their parents work in this company and they don't want anything to do with it. So these owners are running out of time and they need to sell their business. And if a person is above 60, health problems are stacking up. It's time to leave the planet, above 70, at 80 plus. And they are now in a desperate situation, and they want a solution. They want someone to buy their companies. And you can go and approach these individuals. It's hard to find them because many of the people would have already sold. There might be new owner, but there could be thousands of companies in your city. So if you make enough calls, you will find individuals who don't even know that their companies can be sold, and you can buy them at a very discounted price. If you buy them at a discounted price, you can get it financed. Okay, if the deal is good, and good always means discounted price. Okay, if you're buying an asset that's producing cash flow, it's a cash machine, and revenues have been stable for 20 years. The banks, the investors, or however you finance it, you have leverage. If the deal is good, there is a way that you can find the money to buy this company. You don't have to put your own money. You can find a way to finance it. There are several ways to finance it, but you need to have a deal. Most entrepreneurs, when they get into business, they want to innovate, and they have an idea, and people are trying to get financing for an idea that doesn't exist, that is just on paper. It's just some charts and some narrative, and there's nothing there. So that the amount of leverage is very low, and they don't have experience. So they don't have experience. They're just trying to finance a thought, essentially. That's what's happening. And that's the reason most people do not get financing. But when you go with a business producing, let's say, $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, and it's bought at a discounted price, and you don't even have to pay all the money up front. Even when you go to buy a car or a house, you don't give all the money up front. You give some up front and some is in installments. Whenever there is a big ticket item like a house or a car or something like that, there's always financing available. Nobody has that kind of cash to pay upfront. Same thing is with businesses. You don't have to pay all the money upfront. That's in fact stupid to do, because you want to make sure that everything stays intact, and you want to drag the payments, pay some right now and some in installments, and you can pay that installments from the business. So this is what I'm talking about when I talk about multi-million dollar deals. And I'm going to talk about how to do this, but I just wanted to paint the background, because if I just go and talk about how to do this, then people, it's important to have this context. So watch the whole series. This can benefit you tremendously. This can open up a possibility you may not have thought about for yourself. And I'm going to break down step by step how to do this. Not only that, I will post a live session of the coaching, the mentorship program that I have, and where I mentored this individual from Mexico City, who reached out to me about 2 years ago. And he had lost his entire business, his restaurant business, to COVID. And he had lost his mother. He was married. He had a newborn child. And he reached out to me and he said, what do? I need a business model. My old business, he had a business worth 30 million, I think Mexican currency. And he just lost all of that COVID. And he didn't know what to do, so he saw that, he reached out to me on LinkedIn and he explained his situation, and he said, will you mentor me? I see you're involved in these deals. Would you teach me how to do this? So we got into an agreement. I signed him up for a one-on-one mentorship program. Over a couple of months, we engaged in conversation, and I step by step guided him how to do it. And he ended up getting involved in a $12 million hospital deal, negotiating and all of that. So this session that I would be sharing, towards the end of the series is before that, we did a session on how to find these deals in his city, because he had no idea. He had no prior experience. He was from the restaurant industry, and I was telling him and he started all those companies by himself. He didn't buy any company. So I told him to go into healthcare and find healthcare businesses, because they're always very profitable and, lucrative. So in his 6th or 7th month, he ended up finding a $12 million transaction that he ended up working for several months and looking for financing, etc. So all of that happened after this particular session. This was session number 8. So I obviously cannot share all the sessions of the coaching, but I'm sharing you with the juicy part, the session 8, where I talk about how to find these deals. There are steps before that you need to do to establish yourself properly, so that when you reach out to these owners, they want to talk to you, and obviously steps that you need to do if you want to get these deals financed. But so keep that in mind. Just a disclaimer. But I'm talking about how to find these deals. And I'm going to be covering all the aspects from beginning to the end. This was a coaching session, so I did not plan to upload it. So it's a conversation. You will have to pick up the details, and you will have to pick up sort of what's happening. And this is the reason I'm giving this background before I start sharing that content with you, so that you can listen from that place. You can listen from this context that we have just created here, and you can understand better what's happening in the mentorship session, because it was session 8 and there were 7 sessions before this. So just filling you in, watch it till the end, watch the whole series, and hit the subscribe button, because all I will be talking about on this channel is how to get into position of multi-million-dollar deals. If you don't have a business idea, if you don't know where to start, if you want to make big money, if you're willing to take risks, if you're willing to make the sacrifices, and if you're looking for information, because there is so much secrecy around this subject. Anybody can teach you how to make a couple of $1,000s or tens of thousands of dollars, but where are these deals happening? When I wasn't in this position, I would always wonder how are these people doing these big deals? Where are they happening? How to get access to that action? And something isn't right. Like, there are people in this world with so much amount of money. How did they get that? I always thought about that when I saw a sports car, when I saw a Bugatti living in Dubai. I always wondered what was behind that person's life, what was behind that person's business. And I wanted someone to share their secrets. But even the most wealthy people, and I have networked with many of them, even if they welcome you into their homes, which I have had the privilege of being welcomed in many of these extremely rich, I'm talking hundreds of millions of dollars worth individuals, they will not always reveal their core strategies of how they got there. They will tell you general advice, think big or wake up in the morning and stuff like that. But they don't reveal actual strategies of how they did it. So I'm going to be disclosing and sort of uncovering some of those secrets of doing these multi-million-dollar deals. And these are very private, as I mentioned. So stay tuned and, watch it till the end, pay attention, take notes, and try to catch, the information, and try to sort of make sense of it and how you can apply it. And really, I want you to visualize yourself doing this, because if you haven't even thought about it, you're never going to act on it. So think about it, visualize it, get inspired. This video is not to intimidate you, not to put you down. This video is made to inspire you, inspire something, awaken something in you that was shut down by your teachers, by parents, back in childhood. We talk about childhood conditioning. So this is a video to activate that and to show a possibility. If you're willing to make the sacrifices, if you're willing to work hard, but you got to work hard in the right direction, so this video series is going to be aimed at exposing the secrets of doing multi-million-dollar deals. I'll talk to you soon. Okay. So your intention is to create strategic partnerships with over 50 healthcare businesses based in Mexico City. Out of the 3,000 businesses that exist, you will acquire 50 of them as a part of your group. So, Brau, here is the strategy, how do you source these sellers? You go on the web and you go on the authority of the whatever is the healthcare authority in Mexico. You will go on their website and you will find their phone numbers. You'll pull out a list of all the licensed facilities in Mexico, and there could be 3,000, there could be 4,000, and you'll make a list of that. Right? Okay, it's possible that these list of companies have like the website itself, the authority website contains their phone numbers. Okay, so how it is in UAE, that if you go to the Dubai Healthcare Authority website, you can look at the facilities, and then you can click on the name of the facility, and it has the phone number of the owner, direct phone number. So that's a very highly qualified list. So your first step is to build a highly qualified phone number list, like ideally direct phone numbers of the sellers. So you're speaking to the decision maker. Okay? And then that's the first step. If you do this step, you will save a lot of time. If your list is not qualified, you are increasing your time by 3 times. How much time you will take to find a deal is going to be increased by 3 to 4 times more. Probably more than that. But if your list is qualified,
let me tell you that here in Mexico, it's kind of hard to get the direct phone number of the owner or the decision maker, because mainly security stuff, and here in Mexico is different. Actually, the list in the healthcare authority webpage is really shitty. It's awful. So maybe the question is that I can ask some of the board members to give me the direct phone or contact of some of that clinic for hospitals.
No, you find a way, bro. There are many ways. There are many agencies that do this. It's called skip tracing. You might be aware of it. So, like, you can hire people who will get you the phone numbers. There are many sources with which you can do this. There's Dun & Bradstreet. If you Google this, Dun & Bradstreet is a company that specifically does this job, to find qualified phone numbers of B2B businesses. So B2B lead generation is extremely key for your business, because ideally you want the direct phone numbers. You may not be able to get for all of them, but you may get for a lot of them. And that's going to cut your time a lot. So there will be...
What's the name of the company, or the name of the...
Dun & Bradstreet. DUN and Bradstreet. Yellow Pages is another one, but Yellow Pages will have like their landline numbers, not the mobile numbers.
And you told me there's name of this kind of activity, of task, that you can look in the web. What's the name? That you told me that there's a common name that it's used to this kind of activity or task to look for a qualified phone number. You mentioned
B2B lead generation. Skip tracing. Skip tracing, yeah. Company skip tracing. You could type LLC skip tracing services.
Skip tracing, right?
Skip tracing. Tracing. All right. So your main objective is to find qualified phone numbers of healthcare facilities. Step number one to that is you need to find the names of all the licensed facilities. You can find that on the healthcare authority website. Whatever is the local healthcare authority, you could just call them and you can find the list. Even Dun & Bradstreet will give you the list. There are many websites that can give you the list, but you want all the names. Next thing you do is you put it on the Excel sheet. Okay? And then you find their phone numbers, qualified phone numbers of the owners. You can find this on the authority website. If it's there, it's amazing. If it's a public data, it's amazing. You can just find the license number and the phone number of when the license was registered and when the entity was incorporated. Okay? So once you will find those details online. Somewhere it's there. Or you could look at any commercial authority, commercial directory. You could look in commercial directory, Mexico. So it'll have all the businesses. So you can select industry, healthcare, and it'll have the entire commercial directory. All the registered licenses. There will be in the company directory, the authorities that have all the entities listed, or it could be, you could ask your board members where you can find that list. You can ask the guys in the Big Four. They do due diligence all the time. So there are many government websites. A lot of it could be public data. You could look in tax authorities. You could look in credit rating place. Like there are many even paid subscriptions of these search engines that you could take temporarily to compile a list. The first step is to compile a list, and then second is to have phone numbers. You may very well find both of these in one place, and that's an easy job. Once you have that, like you can pay someone $20 on Fiverr, and you can have them put in a list with the numbers. Okay? And then you have the Excel sheet. And then you can prepare a comment section on your right, and then you can just call them and write comments. Okay. So let's go over the process. The overview of the process. You can write this down. So step number one is the introduction call. The introduction call. There are certain objectives for the introduction call. Okay. First step is you will create an image for them. You will create a perception. So that's an introduction. You will talk about your company. You will talk about your vision, and you will tell them that you're looking to do strategic partnerships with them, with profitable businesses. And here is what you need to find out. The moment you get in contact with the decision maker, you will find out how motivated is he. How old is the company? Based on how old is the company, you can find out his age. So if he's like, it's a 15-year-old company, then he started maybe at 35 and he's 50 years old. Or maybe he started at 40 and he's like 55, 60 years old. Or if it's a 20-year-old company, the older the company, the older the guy. So that's your first role, bro, is to ascertain how motivated is this guy. If he's not motivated, don't waste your time. I'm telling you hacks that will help you save a ton of time. Ton of time. I've wasted a lot of time, bro, on this. Just take my word for it. If he is confused about, if he's not sure, don't waste your time. If he's not sure, then everything is just out of the window. But if he's really certain and he treats you like, he looks at you like your God or his savior, that's the right motivated seller. He needs to look at you like you are his last option. He really needs to value you. If he's in his demeanor, if he's like that, oh yes, I want to talk to you, please, if he gets very enthusiastic and interested in your company and oh wow, yes, let's meet. If he's too enthusiastic, he's motivated. That's the seller that you want. That's the number one qualification and the most important qualification that you ever do. Once out.
Sorry, let me ask you a really quick question. In this case of creating an image, this core perception that is really important in the first contact, in the first step, how can I create this first impression with the people here in Mexico that are really scared about the security? It's really tough, or it's really weird that some big business owner take a call that he doesn't know.
Happens all the time.
So you're telling me that it's possible that the owner of the bank bring his or her cell phone or his or her mobile, and that's me, and they take the call?
Yes.
Okay.
They take the call. They're interested in you. They will ask for your executive summary. Send that. They'll ask for your website. You can prepare a website so that they can look you up, and you can say, you can look at our website. And just like the lawyers, just like the bankers, they're business people. They'll be open to talk to you.
Is it convenient to send a previous WhatsApp message?
What do you mean?
Yeah, let's say that you are a clinic owner or a hospital owner. So I have your cell phone and I chat you by WhatsApp. I send you a message prior the call that, hello, Tri, I'm Braulio Filoteo. I'm the founder and managing partner of Phoenix Holding, blah, blah, blah.
Two approaches. Approach number one, message, call, message. Okay? Message, call, message. Right? Second one is call, message, call. That's the one that I like to do, because in this case, you got them and you are in control of the conversation. If you send the message, they don't read it, then you're out. So you need to call them. Or you could just ask them, if you see that they've read the message, you could just straight away call to them after that. That's also perfectly fine. The bottom line is you want to get on the phone and you want to get them listening. All right. How you do it is immaterial. But these are the strategies that work. Message, call, message, and call, message, call. And qualified numbers, as many as you can.
When you mention call, you mention a phone call or as a Zoom call?
Phone call.
Phone call, right.
It could be a Zoom call. The bottom line is get in front of that and get them listening.
Okay. Got it.
But it's immaterial, So start with the introduction. We'll get into the script in a second. I'll tell you the exact script that you can use. You'll start with the introduction, and then you will start with whether they're motivated or not. Okay? So you know, and I'll tell you, when you get the script, you will know. But you need to be thinking, is he motivated? Is he not? If he's 60 years and above, if he's 55 years and above, there's a high chance he's motivated. If he's 60 years and above, there's a very high chance he's motivated. If he's 70 years old, don't let him get off the phone. That's the target. Your target is businesses that are owned by successful entrepreneurs that have reached an age of retirement. That's your target. If someone is 35 years old, don't waste your time. But if he's 63 years old, his kids don't want to take care of the business, and he's looking for an exit desperately, that's your candidate.
And when I talk the mission statement with them, I can say that, yeah, I'm looking for a partnership, but above that, I'm going to consolidate a really fragmented real estate. Can I say that?
With them, we'll get to the script.
All right.
Simply say that we're going to do strategic partnerships with 50 companies, and we're going to create a large brand out of it. And you tell them a few names on your board and the companies that they were working at, and that's how you get the buy-in. And then I say, okay, what do you need from me? Okay, have you ever thought about selling your business? So the phone call is just to set the stage for what's to come. You're setting the stage, you're building credibility, you're building comfort, you're telling them why you're calling them, you're not wasting time. You're just, you bang on point, you're using selected words, and you just hook them in. And then you get their interest. And then you schedule a meeting. And I'll get to that. So on the phone call, you will qualify motivation, the size of the clinic. So write down the size, ticket size, how big is it? Are they interested in the proposition? What is their age? Is it profitable or not profitable? The ticket size, motivation, and profitability, and their age is one of the most important things. Once you get these and they fall in the category, he's 60 years old. His clinic is doing $5 million in revenue. It's a mini hospital. He doesn't have a line of succession, and he's very excited to speak to you, and he's delighted for the opportunity. That's your candidate. That's what you want to hear. Yes, I'm nearing a stage of retirement. I've been thinking about it for quite some time now. I'm glad you called. I'm very happy to discuss. That's bang on. That's money. Okay, great. So just a couple of quick questions so that I don't waste your time and we don't waste each other's time. We are only acquiring companies that are doing $2 to $3 million in revenue per year and above. Is your clinic doing more than that? Oh no, actually it's doing 500,000 a year. Next. Oh, I'm sorry, this does not fall under our investment guidelines. Thank you for your time. But yes, say, oh no, it's actually doing $5 million. Oh, that's great. Okay. Roughly revenue size and the valuation is going to be very close to each other. So, okay, so do that. And then you tell them, okay, also the second thing, first criteria is that it should be doing more than $2 to $3 million in revenue per year. So write this down.
That actually one bank told me that they use finance companies with revenue above $20 million.
Okay, so that's a good bank. You will see this trend. The bigger the ticket size, the more the banks want to be interested in. The smaller the ticket size, the harder. But for the first few deals, you'll do the small deals and then you'll go to the big ones. But you need to line up the big ones. You need to start, getting them in the pipeline. Okay. Once you've qualified how big the company is, and the next thing you ask is your company profitable? We are only acquiring profitable companies. Oh, yes, we are in profit. Okay. Were you profiting during COVID times as well? Yes. Okay. Great. So we are looking for companies that are doing at least 20% net margin. So you want $2 to $3 million in revenue and 20% net margin. Oh, cool. If you don't mind me asking, how many doctors do you have? Okay. How many nurses? What are the services that you're offering? And you keep writing in the notes. And then you say, okay, all right, you qualify okay, you would even ask, if you were to sell this business, what would be the ideal price that you would be looking for? This is optional. Write down the heading optional and write these questions. Also, could you send me you could ask them for 3 years of audited financials and tax returns. Audited financials and tax returns. Optional. Remember, this is optional. If they're comfortable, if they're really motivated, if it's a 70-year-old guy, he'll send it to you immediately. Okay. All right. So then you go on and you explain to them the 60-40 dynamic. Here's the deal structure, bro. This is for you. You acquire 60% of the company and he holds 40%. Okay? Once you acquire the company, you will make more acquisitions, right? And then eventually you want to take the company public or you want to sell it to a private equity firm. So before the exit, you will give him an option that for the 40% of the company that he holds, he can translate that 40% into the holding company and buy shares using that 40%.
That's what you call it rollover.
Rollover equity. Correct.
Right.
So here is what's happening, bro. Small companies are valued at 3 to 5 times or less. Okay, 1 to 20 million, 1 to 30 million, that's the valuation. Okay, the moment companies become 100 million plus, 200 million plus, the valuation is 9-10 times. Why? Because there's a succession plan, there's low risk, it's credible, it has a brand value, it's big in size, it has proper corporate governance, it has a board, it has proper financial controls, It has, internationally financially credible. It has accreditation. Like, it has an entire system. It's run by itself. It's much sophisticated company, so it's valued at a much higher multiple. Um, Public companies are valued at 18 times, 15 times, 20 times, 25 times, 30 times. That's the valuation of a public company. So you will see a trend as the company grows, the multiple transforms, even though the financial EBITDA margin is going to be the same, but the multiple on top of the EBITDA is going to transform. For small companies, it's going to be 3 to 5. For large corporates, it's going to be 8 to 12, and for public companies, it's going to be 15 to 18. So what you will tell them is that you are collecting 40 to 50 small companies, family businesses, and creating a corporation. So if they sell 60% now and they hold back 40%, then at the exit, their 40% is not going to be valued at 3 to 5. Their 40% could be valued at 8 to 10 at a minimum, or it could be 15 to 18. And you can check what the average for public companies is.
Right.
So you can tell them this is a data from so and so company, and it says that average multiple for public company is this. Average company this for large corporates is this. Even if we do 10 deals, let's say we don't do 50, we do 10 deals, our group will be valued in 100 million. And you will get 8-9 times as a multiple for 40%. So you sell 60 and you keep 40. And what this does for you is that he's going to run the business, and he's going to be engaged, and he's going to keep the profits up. He's not going to sell you the company and run away. Okay, so make sure that you set this dynamic. In any scenario, you don't acquire 100% of the company. That's all.
And the other option is that he or she doesn't want the rollover equity, and she or he can receive a cash out when we sell, right?
Exactly. So if you do a cash out when you sell, let's say after 5 years the exit doesn't happen. Okay, what are you going to do if the exit doesn't happen? They say, okay, we'll offer you the same multiple that we bought at, based on that year's net profit. So if you bought a company at 3 times, you valued the company at 3 times of net profit of year 2021. In 2025, you will value it based on 25 numbers, and you will multiply it by 3 times, and you will calculate the 40% of that and pay him in cash. So you will guarantee a return, minimum return. You tell them that we'll guarantee a minimum return 3 times, but rest is all upside. You could get 5, you could get 7, you could get 8. You will tell them we think it's going to be 8 to 9, and this is based on this data. You need to sell the vision, bro.
Yeah.
You need to leverage on the credibility that you have built. You need to leverage on board members, have the board members with you at times. So I'm jumping ahead. Okay, so first call, you explain the 60-40 dynamic very lightly, and you say we'll give you an option to exit. And you can exit on higher multiples. You can get the second bite at the cherry. So first 60% and then 40%, much higher multiple. Sometimes the value of the 40% is much more than 60%. 2-3 times. That happens. Really, it happens. So you have a promising project, use that vision. You have a strong team, use that. The other thing is, once you've done that, then you say, okay, when can we meet? And then you meet. You set up a meeting, and then you meet him. The agenda for the first meeting is to get more information. So you will have a list of questions that you will ask them.
That's a physical meeting.
It's a physical meeting. It could be a Zoom, but I recommend physical meeting. Then you take a non-disclosure agreement with you. Okay, so that you can just get it signed and you can say, here is my non-disclosure. Everything that we speak about is going to be confidential.
Where is the meeting? In a restaurant? In his offices?
You could do the first meeting in his office.
All right.
You're just gathering information. You're not negotiating. He will ask you how much can you offer. Don't tell him 3 to 5 times EBITDA. Don't. Because he'll ask you for 5 times. When you send your executive summary, remove the price.
Right.
Write this down. It is very important. Because you may be able to acquire it at 1.52. So when he sees 3 to 5, he's going to ask for 5. Remove the 3 to 5. Because you don't know how valuable the company is. We cannot use a standard approach. When they ask you for the price, he says, I cannot be irresponsible with my offer right now. I don't want to propose something that I cannot deliver. So let me get the details, let me get the financials, and I will have a discussion with our board and we'll do a proper valuation of the company. And you will. So tell them that we'll do a proper valuation and we'll tell you exactly how much the company is valued. I'll get to that. So they ask you for the price, you tell them that if we have very limited information right now, it will be irresponsible for me to give you an offer. Okay. When you meet him, you further qualify on the seriousness. You all the time are qualifying, is he serious or not? It's a question, of your credibility. If you have a discussion for months on a target and he was not serious and you had discussion with your banks and board, that's a huge risk on your name. So you're going to speak to serious people. Okay? How do you find that out? How quickly do they send you the information? How quickly do they want to meet? Are they flaky? Do they keep rescheduling the meeting? Or do they meet you instantly? How do they treat you? How is their demeanor? What is the emotions? How old they are? How long have they been running the business? What is their personal life? Do they have any kids that can take over the business? Do they have any partners? Do they look stressed? Are they going through any conflict with their partners? There could be many reasons why they want to sell. There could be a conflict between the partners. They could be
in this physical meeting. Is it good to take with me some of the board members or just me?
It depends. You would, if you qualify very well on the introduction call and it's a serious prospect, it's 65 years old, you take the board member.
It depends. Okay.
But if you see he's kind of lukewarm, but you still want to go and meet him, you meet him, and then for the second meeting, you take the board member. I would say for the second meeting, you take the board member.
Yeah.
Okay. I cannot stress on this. Are they really looking to sell, bra? Okay. Here's what you will ask. You will ask for their audited financials. You will ask them to send you, and you have an NDA, so they should not have any problem in any of that. If they don't send the audited financials, they're not serious. So last 5 years, audited financials, latest till 2020, tax returns, 3 years, 3 to 5 years. Okay, then you will talk about the property, what is the revenue, what is the profit, precise numbers, and you will write it down in your notes. Then how many doctors, how many nurses, what are the services, what is the location, what is the reputation, how long have they been in business. Just get all the elements of the business. Property, is it leased or rented? What type of entity is it? What type of license it is? How many doctors, how many services, how long have they been operating? How did they start? What is the backstory? Where are they from? How old they are? What is the revenue? What is the profit? Do they have any debt in the company? Those
all this question is better to do it in forward or Zoom call or in presence.
In person. Make sure all the decision makers are there. If all the decision makers are not there, don't go to the meeting. You want all the decision makers. And don't speak to the general manager of the clinic or the CEO. You want to speak to the owner. You're not going to speak to someone who's not a decision maker. You have to speak to the guy who can take the decision.
Right.
You write down the information, you go back. You say, okay, let me come back. Send me the financials. Then you get the financials. Then you prepare an information memorandum, meaning you just prepare a draft of the information. You go on Word, you type it down, don't tell them the name of the clinic, but tell them that this is a medical clinic with 12 doctors, with 15 nurses. It's located here. This is the revenue. This is the profit. This is based on the audited financials that we have received. This is the property is leased. They don't have any debt in the company. It's a profitable business. And very important, ask them, how much are you looking for to sell the business? What would be the ideal price that you'd like to sell your business on? And then they will tell you, whatever you offer. They say, no, you could have a number in your mind. I will try to deliver it. I'll try my best to deliver it. I like to try to meet what your expectation is. So tell them, ask them for the number. If they say 10 times or 12 times, it just don't waste your time. If they say 6, okay. Ideally, they should say 3 or 4. They should tell you 3 or 4. If it's a $20 million company and they're asking for 6, okay, fine, we'll talk about it. If it's a $2 million company, they're looking for 7, 8 times, that's a no-no. He's not motivated. He's playing games.
Right.
They should be scared of you, bro. Because there are not that many buyers in the market. You're creating a perception. You need to understand you're a corporation.
And what about the finest details about this kind of perception? For instance, KPMG asked me for the name of the company, the legal name of the company that in Mexico it's called moral person, like is the company name registered at the local authorities. And I respond to them that it depends on the finance structure. It depends how we're going to engage each one of the deals, and that's how we are going to constitute or how we're going to create our company. But this is my managing partner contact info, and that was enough for them. That was enough. That was okay. It made sense. So for the NDA, for example, when they ask for the name of the company, the legal name of the company as incorporated or something similar in Mexico, I can use the same story, right? That it depends how we're going to create the company legally in terms of the finance structure.
I would suggest, bro, that you form a cheap company with the same name. Just
Right.
just a cheap company, any the cheapest one, whatever is the cheapest company name, like anything, and you name it, like you name, like, for example, the name of my company is Vital Gates, so I could use Vital Gates Investments, and I form the company, and I pay, like, I don't know how much it is to form a company in Mexico, but I don't think it's going to be a lot. Just form some cheap company to structure documents. So if it's $100, $200, $300, $400, do it. Or you could structure a holding company. You just speak to your board, speak to law firms, speak to like 20, 30 people, tell them that you're going to finance the deal with debt, speak to your lawyers and say what would be an ideal entity structure. Like I structured the entity, I took a risk. But in Dubai, there are only two structures possible. You could only do it two ways. So I just picked one. It was safe for me. How is the legal structure in Mexico? You need to check. But as a safe guideline, if they ask you for your license, you could form a company that's like very cheapest and just form it and name it Phoenix. And then you have a company. You can just structure NDAs.
All right. And do I have to ask for the board members to sign as
No.
shareholders or not? Right.
You're going to have 100% of the company, and at the shareholders meeting, you will divide the shares. Even when you form the holding company, when you find out what company you need to form, you will be the 100% of the owner, and then the board meeting will happen, and you will distribute the shares.
Okay, maybe to begin with, I can form with because here in Mexico, I cannot be the 100% owner. I have to be at most 99%. So I can give the 1% to my wife, or maybe to Gary, our chairman. What do you suggest?
All right. Okay, and just use the same name as your. If you're planning to do holdings in your actual company, do investments. If you're planning to do investments, then do holding. So, like, it's along the similar lines. Or you could just do Phoenix. I don't know, but keep the name similar.
So now our name is Phoenix Holding.
So you do Phoenix Investments.
All right.
Okay. So then you have like a dummy company right now. If it's too cheap, go for it. Don't think about it. If it's expensive, like $10,000 or something, or $5,000, I don't know, $2,000, then you better find out what structure would be ideal and just you incorporate it as the holding company. Something that's credible, something that has good features in it, and what's the best option. You can start researching on that now.
Right.
Or you could tell them that we are in the pre-startup phase and we're in the pre-formation phase, and this is what okay. And you can structure the NDA in your personal name, but that doesn't fly very well. So having an entity is not going to hurt you. If it's a cheap one, form it. If it's expensive, then form the one that you're actually going to form and really form it, and you're the 100% owner of that. So, but do some research because you'll be spending money. Speak to a lot of lawyers, law firms. Ask the law firms; they'll tell you. This is the activity. What type of structure do we need to, Okay.
Right.
You have the NDA. I'll send you the questionnaire for the information. Okay. The other thing is, then you will give me 1 second, bro. Okay. You will gather the information, bro, and then you will go to your board.
With this memorandum that you told me.
You will have the memorandum, you will have revenue, you will have profit, you will have location, age of the owner, reasons for sale, number of employees, number of doctors, nurses, type of license, property is it leased or rented, as many things, variables as possible. Types of services, year of incorporation, profit since how many years, does it have any debt in the company or not, how many equipments, as many as you can. Once that's done, you put it in this and you send the audited financials to the board. And then you say, I am divide the board into two parts. So team 1 and team 2. So if you have 2 healthcare experts, 2 finance, 2 accounting, 2 legal, you have, separate the team. And you take deal 1 to team 1 and deal 2 to team 2. So you can divide their time. All right. So you get them on the phone. You send them an email. We have our first target in line, first potential target in line. I'm sending you below is the attached information memorandum. This is a medical clinic based in Mexico City, at the heart of the city. They want to sell the business at, because of this reason, and this is the expected valuation of the clinic. This is what they're asking for. Below is the attached information memorandum. Kindly tell me when will you be available for a discussion, and let's schedule a call. Any questions?
I will arrange a Zoom call with team 1 or team 2, right? With
Correct.
7 people. We are going to discuss the memorandum, right?
Okay. I would like to hear your view on the deal, and I would like to hear your, comments, and from the perspective of risk. Our objective is to remove the risk from the deal and make the deal bulletproof and structure a deal that can be financed by the banks and ultimately fulfill our purpose of building a profitable group.
Right.
Okay, so then your board will comment. You start writing down, okay, risk number 1, risk number 2, question number 3, question number 4. They'll ask you a lot of questions. Do they have this? Do they have that? How old is the license? Is the license renewed? What type of property? What is the... So what are the risks according to you? You want to kind of cover the negative scenario. You want to cover all the risks that are there in the deal. This is risk and compliance. Is the lease signed? Who is the owner? Whose name the company is in? Do they have bank statements? They'll ask you all types of things. You just write those questions down. And they will tell you, okay, what happens if the owner dies? What happens if the owner sells you and leaves the business? How do we protect that scenario? What about this? So they'll create scenario. You call the scenario planning. So basically you paint all the potential scenarios and you cover them in your deal terms. And you structure a deal. So you could do 60-40, and then out of the 60%, you say we'll give you 50% upfront cash and 50% will give you over 3-4 years. So if 60% was 2 million, you'll give 1 million right now and 1 million from the cash flow. And then 40% at the exit. you want to lock the owner in. So your financial person will tell you all kinds of tricks.
Let me ask you a question about money. When we talk about these terms with the motivated seller, the money will arrive to my company, the company that
They will give it to they will transfer it to the owner.
to the clinic directly.
Yeah.
So the bank will transfer the money to the clinic or to the target clinic or hospital, and then from the bank account of that target, we will pay the 100% of the 60% or the 50% of the 60%, right? From the target company that we're going to acquire, there is where the money will transfer the money.
Yes.
Not to our holding company.
No.
All right.
So here is what you will do, Brau. Once you have had the risk analysis, you will prepare all the risks. You will make notes of the meeting on your computer, and you will compile that, and with the information memorandum, you will write down risks scenarios. And then you will compile that and you will send it to your board members. So that it's all in written format. And then you will ask them, what is the, they will sit over it, they will sit down over it, and they will meet again. So they will need to digest the information, and they'll meet again. They may not be able to provide a comment immediately, but sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So you might have another call. Okay. So now you will sit down with your CFO. The call is over. You compile the risk. You will send it back. And now you will have the meeting with your CFO. Your CFO is your right-hand man, Brau.
Okay, but to this stage, do I have to name a CFO already, or what's the process for naming the CFO?
Naming, what do you mean?
To asking somebody of the board to be the CFO. I mean,
you should know it by now that one of them is going to take on a CFO position. So you should see who is willing,
Okay, do I have to ask right now or no?
Ask them. Ask the finance guys. We would be engaging a CFO. We would need a group CFO. Would you be willing to be a group CFO? You will have the equity plus the salary plus the bonus as a compensation. And your equity position is going to be higher than others.
Right.
So you can offer the CFO around 5 to 6%. Start with 4, and then towards the board meeting, you can increase it. How much do the other directors have?
Right now, when I interview every single people in the board, I told them 2 to 3%. And for the chairman, 6 to 8%.
Okay, that's fine. So one of them, you will tell them we'll give you 4% plus salary once we have made a few acquisitions, 2 acquisitions. So he will be non-executive right now, but he will take on a position of a CFO. But you need to know who that is going to be. He may not be an acting CFO right now, but he will be a major person to attend the meetings and to do the banks and negotiation. You will know who it is, who is good in the in-person meetings. You want a guy who's like sharp, who's like, in negotiations, he's like top.
Yeah. Probably, not probably. I know who of the board members could be. I'm 99% sure that he will say yes. So yeah, okay. So I will meet with the CFO.
So the meeting is over. You will sit down with the CFO and you will tell him that we need to prepare an offer range. how you prepare an offer range route is how much the banks can finance. It's based on the bank financing. How do you know how much, with whether the banks will finance or not? Well, you've interviewed them. Did you calculate the DSCR ratio?
Yeah, some of them are 2-to-1, some of them are 3-to-1.
What do you mean 3-to-1?
Yeah, I ask of $100,000. I have to guarantee 300.
So if the debt payment is 100,000, you have to have a cash flow of 300K.
Yeah,
That's very high.
yeah, I found a ratio of 2-to-1 that we have to have in a cash flow 200 instead of 300. The banks usually have that ratio in Mexico, 2-to-1.
2 is fine, but they should be quoting 1.25 to 1.5 to 1.75. And 2 is
From 1.5 to 1.7.
Yeah, to 1.25 to 1.75. You need to interview more banks and proper bankers. I am assuming you're not interviewing the right people.
Well, actually, I have a little bit confusion of that, because I started interviewing branch banks that has the authority to lend fast and good amounts of lending, acquisition finance. And talking with one of the board members that actually, I think he's gonna be the CFO. He was 30 years in one of the main bank in Mexico. It's a bank that it's a full bank. The main bank is in Spain, and he told me that even though he was one of the main authorities for lending procedures, it was a mess. It was a really, really, really harsh procedure, for at least 6 months to give some money, and it was really hard in terms of they only lend 50% of the transaction. They are tough. So he was telling me that the best shot that we have right now are the branch banks that I started to interview. So we're gonna have
Interview commercial banks, corporate banks, SME division. Just interview 30 banks. You will have a good data.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is that even though he told me that that bank, especially the first bank or the main bank in Mexico, is really hard, I will do it. I will do it for practice. I will do it for training. I will do it even though he told me that it's almost impossible and it's really hard. I'll do it. I'll do it with every single bank. Now, I guess that it's not harmful to have a second contact with these branch banks the next week. I don't know what you think about it, but I have a second contact with board members with that branch that they are really interested in giving money. They are like 4 or 5 banks, and I will keep looking for money, whatever it takes. But I mean, this second contact with board members, I guess, is good. It's convenient.
Yeah. Just get the information with the bank, and that's all that you need right now. And get their contact. With the banks, that's all you need. You need to tell them their vision. You need to introduce a few directors. You need to get answers to the questions, and you need to, have them in your contact list. Create an Excel sheet, and you create bankers. You need to have like 50 of them, and that's all you need. Main thing is
Right.
okay, but you need bankers in your contact. So don't worry too much about the banks right now. Just write down what they tell you. Speak to senior bankers. Speak to people who have lending authorities. Speak to the people who deal with big companies like yours, and just that's it. Okay, so that's the most important thing. Get the information, and that's it. Use that.
I know that I'm taking care of my position in order to keep as most shares that I can have. However, is it good that some of the board members have contacts with big banks or with banks that are in lending mode? Is it good to have
Yes.
all with contacts?
For board, you can use it for banks. You can use them for investors, but avoid using it for deal flow initially.
All right.
Okay. So meeting number. So you sit down with your CFO and you create a cash flow projection. So you will, whatever the debt amount that whatever the price that they said, you will use that as an assumption for the loan amount. You will add interest, and you will add a 5-year term, and you will add the income of the profit of the clinic, EBITDA of the clinic, and your CFO and you will sit down and put together. Just tell him that we need to create a cash flow projection in relation to the debt service. We need to assume a principal amount and an interest amount over 5 years, and we need to use the income of the clinic, create a projection of the income of the clinic over the next 5 years, and we need to create a cash flow sheet.
Yeah. All right.
So you will have, like, I'll just show you a quick example.
In this stage, we do not want the participation of Big Four or law firm, right?
No, for the first 2 deals, your board's going to do the due diligence.
Right.
Okay. This is how the cash flow sheet looks like. This is the audited financials.
Yeah.
Okay, revenue and profits. Okay, this is inflation rate. Forget about that. Your CFO will tell you. This is interest rate. This is the principal amount, 4.8 million. Total principal and total interest. Okay. This is the total principal over 5 years. So year 1, yearly payment is 1.3 million plus interest. This is the payment, and in the green, it's the profit of the clinic. So you can see it's more than 2 times covering.
Yeah.
Year 1 more than 2 times. Year 2 more than 2.5 times. Year 3, year 4, and year 5. So you can see it's clear that 3 million is profit and debt is 1 million, and you can finance it easily. Okay.
Yeah.
So this assumes 4.8 is for the 60% of the company.
Okay.
Now you want
Is it possible?
Yeah.
Sorry, but is it possible to share this sheet with me in order to study the numbers?
Yeah.
I will do the work with the CFO. I'm not going to show this to him, obviously.
No,
but,
you can show this, but you need to create an automated sheet. Read here. It's an automated sheet.
Yeah. Okay.
Look what happens. I write this amount, 6 million. Everything got changed.
Yeah. All right.
I wrote here 9 million. You see what happened? It's too close. The bank is not going to give the money here. So I know I cannot go up to 9 million. How much can I go? You will calculate based on the debt service cash flow. If they said 1.5, 1.75 or 2, you will see, okay, if I do 6, okay, that's close. Okay, what if I do 5? Okay, that's not bad. What if I do 4 million? Okay, so you know you cannot go more than 4 million. Yeah. So you will tell them that you can't go more than 4. The other thing that you want to know is that you're going to charge a management fee, a salary. For who? For yourself.
Okay, I asked for that where? With the CFO meeting or where? When?
You will tell the seller as a part of the deal structure that you will take a fixed management fee. And you will take some cash flow. And this is how you calculate the EBITDA, brow. You need to, whatever the profit is, you need to reduce your salary and you need to ask the owner if he's taking a salary. And you need to remove that. Calculation of the EBITDA is very important. What is the EBITDA? If the owner tells you, yes, I'm going to continue to work in the company, but I need $100,000 of salary, then you need to remove that from the profit. You need to say, okay, 100,000 is for the owner. So if the EBITDA was 1 million, it became 900,000. And then you're going to put your salary. So you will say, okay, I'll take 200,000. So you'll remove 200,000. So now the EBITDA is 700,000, not 1 million. You just remove 3, and then you will apply the multiple. So 3 or 5 times will be applied to 700, not 1 million. So just write down calculation of the EBITDA and write down your CFO needs to answer this question.
And then my CFO will know that there's a fixed management fee for me in each clinic.
Yes. And not just you, for CEO and CFO also.
Yeah.
So you could pull out maybe 50 to 100,000. You could pull out maybe $20,000 per month for yourself. And then you could pull out, you will know when you prepare the cash flow and how much the cash flow covers the debt service, you will know how much you can charge. But your CFO will tell you how to do it. Just tell him we need management fees for myself and yourself or whoever is working. But if he's not working full time in the clinic, you're not going to pay him. But if he's planning to be full time, then the moment you prepare the cash flow, he will know what he's going to get. So he will be excited. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. If you have a $5 million deal, he will see clearly how much cash, how much debt service, and you prepare. Okay, so anyway, you prepare the offer and then you meet the board again. And then you compile the risks. Bro, I need to run. We can continue this tomorrow.
All right.
Or I can just give me 1 second. Okay, bro. So
And let me ask you, what about the timing for the CEO? This is not
Two or three acquisitions. The answer is simple: when you can afford them.
okay? So right now it's just the management fee for the CFO right now.
It could be just for you and no CFO, no CEO. Maybe after acquisition number 2 or 3, you get the CFO and CEO.
Yeah, but from the first deal, I have to sit with my CFO and talk about the cash flow projection, right?
Yeah, that's part of his non-executive role.
Okay.
He's not doing anything extra.
All right, but if he asks for a management fee from the first one, I can negotiate, or I should negotiate with him that
It depends, it depends on the role. If he's going to be involved in the management full time, then okay, you can have a management fee. But if he's not, he's going to be a non-executive, then no.
Okay.
So he
Got it.
It's based on hours. And my CFO is working a lot. So, and he's not getting any money. But once we close the first deal, he's going to have a basic salary, and second and third deal, you both are going to have a nice salary, and fourth, fifth deal, your salary is going to be pretty good. Like $100,000 per month or $80,000 per month. But that's on the fourth, fifth deal. On first deal, you'll have basic expenses.
Okay.
You cannot overcharge the management fee because you will overburden the business. That's why we like doing bigger deals. So if you have a $3-4 million deal, that's going to be a good one. Okay, so owner might have a salary, you will have a salary, CFO might have a salary. So 3 people's salary, you need to reduce that from EBITDA. Your CFO is going to tell you everything. Ask him the right questions. He'll tell you. Right. Prepare the cash flow, you will have an offer range. So you say, okay, we can offer between 1.5 to 1.75 million for 60%. Okay. And then you start, he will tell you the negotiation strategy. Will start by 1.25. Okay, anyway, I'll quickly wrap up. These are the main points. Then you meet the board again, you have another conversation, you tell them this is the offer range, you present the cash flow, and you say this is how we can cover the debt service, this is how we will have to charge the management fee, blah, 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 blah. What do you think should be the deal structure? Tell them that our model is 60-40. What else can we add to make the deal secure? What about this risk? And create a risk planning scenario, write all the risk and plan it, and use the drafting terms in the contract to cover those risks. And then you do a meeting with the seller. This time you invite him for a dinner, bro. Okay. Let's speak about the dinner in our next session. All right. Okay. All right. Just keep the notes ready and we'll speak about in the next session. Okay. Okay. Perfect. See you, bro. Ciao. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you where Braulio is right now. So the videos that you watched in the previous parts, they were from the session number 8 that I did for Braulio, my client that was in the videos. And the session was around how to find multi-million-dollar deals in your city. And that's not the first steps, but there are several steps before this that lead up to this point where you start looking for businesses that you want to buy. And the last few videos were mainly targeted around how to find these deals, how to establish contact with the owners, how to negotiate, how to structure deals. We went into the structuring part a little bit, not extensively. And what I'm about to show you now is the final session of the mentorship that my client attended with me. It's a one-on-one mentorship that he did with me, where I taught him how to build his company from scratch with little or no money, get into a position of having high-profile advisors from finance background, top financial advisors in the country, top legal advisors in the country with over 25, 30 plus years of experience, and top healthcare CEOs to advise him how to acquire these businesses and how to run these businesses. So I helped him accomplish that. He came to me with little or no money, and he ended up building a world-class team of advisors that currently advise him on how to do multi-million-dollar deals. He did not have that as a possibility before he had attended this program with me. And now he's involved in doing multi-million-dollar deals. Actually, his first transaction that he found was a $12 million deal that he worked on for several months. And this video that I'm about to show you now is a few months later after this session was conducted. So you can clearly see the effect of this session that it had on him. I want you to notice the demeanor, how his demeanor has changed, how his voice has changed, how the way he speaks and his level of enthusiasm and where he's sort of positioned within himself has shifted. Something has shifted, and you can clearly see that in this video, because this video is more a couple of months later than that video. So by this time, he had already seen the numbers. He had seen for himself that these multi-million-dollar deals can happen for him, and it can happen starting with little or no money. He could build his advisors, and he could ultimately get in a position where he's finding himself now negotiating multi-million-dollar deals. So that's the session, and I hope you enjoy it and watch it till the end. This is going to be a little bit longer video than the previous parts. I'm going to just put all the juicy bits of the session in this video so that you get a complete sneak peek of what's possible, and I want you to look at it from your own perspective, how this can be a reality in your life. Okay, look, I'm 28 years old. Okay, I come from very humble beginnings. I did not grow up with a lot of money, and I started this company with very little of my own capital, and I am currently now involved in doing multi-million-dollar deals. And I have taught this entrepreneur who came to me, and he had very little money, and I got him to a position of doing multi-million-dollar deals and having these high-profile advisors. So if I could do it, and if he could do it, you can too. I just want you to see that for yourself, even if it's difficult, or to picture that. While you're watching this, I want you to see this for yourself. Okay, so I'll talk to you soon, and enjoy the video.
Hello, Pri. How are you?
I am doing very well, bro. How are you doing?
I'm perfect. I'm more than fine. I see that you are in your castle.
Yes, that's right.
All right. Bring it on.
How is it going? How are you?
I'm pushing hard. I'm really, really close to do my first deal. I'm taking care of all the details. I'm taking care of my energy. I'm taking care of every single step of the QLA model in this meeting, this next meeting in the 23rd of February, where the major shareholders of this hospital in the north part of Mexico are flying to Mexico City to meet me and to meet some of my board members, my CEO, my CFO, my general counsel, and probably Garrett Bennett, my chairman, could be there because he had to take care of other business in the city. So yeah, I'm visualizing this moment long time ago. every single aspect of this journey, of this experience, I have been visualizing and affirming and doing declarations. So I'm ready, I'm also ready. So actually yesterday, my CEO came here to Cancun to receive a special award because he appeared in the last edition of Forbes in Mexico. So I told him, I'm totally sure that we are going to close this deal. I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the situation in control because maybe the flight or the plane is delayed or something like that. But I'm ready. I'm ready to push hard. And if you are, I'm all in. So he was like, I'm all in with you. Let's do this deal. Let's close it. So I'm experiencing too that some of the board members, for my surprise, they are not used to this kind of deals. They're not used to this seller's finance. They're like blowing their mind at how. So are we going to purchase this hospital with their own money? Yes. So they're like, really? That's if I were the business owner, I would say no, brother. So I was like, okay, that's fine. But I love to hear that. I love to feel like this underdog feeling. I love that. So thank you for that insight, or thank you for that advice, because we're gonna close that deal with seller finance. I don't give a shit. So let's do it. So yeah, that's interesting because for my CEO, it's like, yeah, some guys are doubting. I know that in the bottom line of this, it's like they're not used to these kind of deals. Actually, my CEO is like, really? Are we gonna do that? Yes. So okay, I trust you. Let's do it. So yeah, it's actually one of the board members that was important CEO for one of the main banks in Mexico. He told me, if you achieve that, I will put a statue in the center of downtown in Mexico, because this is the first time I will be part of the solar finance. So that's how the things are going.
Well, that's leadership, bro, and that's exactly what you're doing. And it's a great. I'm proud of you that you are able to lead them like this, and able to hold your frame and tell them straight that this is how it's going to be done, and having the right attitude, not bad mouthing them or anything, but just keeping your calm and taking their advice and insight in the right spirit, and having them follow your lead. So that's great. I'm proud of you. Keep pushing, and you're going to close the deal. And you're going to close it sooner than when I started and I would close, because I went the bank financing route, which will extend the QLA process at least 6 months if you go the bank financing route. If you go by the seller financing route, you would get it done in a week, 1 week. Get it done. Dan Benya said he could do it in 36 hours, seller finance deal. It's because of the banks and their protocols and the presentations and the networking, the finding the right banker for the deal, and the equity concern, and the startup and the personal guarantee, and All of these things, and negotiations, they take time. And then the loan documents, internal credit approval. So those kind of bureaucratic things that take time. Not to say that you cannot do that for second, third, fourth deal, or not to say that you cannot have 5, 6 deals at the same time running. Few of them can be seller finance, few of them can be bank finance. But the first one, do it seller finance. The QLA model is first 2 deals you do seller finance, or first one you do 100% seller finance, second one you can do kind of like 80-20, 80% seller finance, 20% debt, and then 60-40, and then from then on you can do bank financing deals. The reason is that when you close a seller finance deal, and at least let's say 2 deals, then you have a track record, and you have some companies under your umbrella, so you have cash flow going on. You have something to show in your balance sheet. So that's what the QLM model is. And I have to admit, I decided that I'm just gonna go the bank finance route, and it's time consuming. It's a bitch. So do it seller finance, and if not this one, another one. But I can see in your attitude and enthusiasm, you're gonna get this one. So I wish you all the best for the meeting. Get the agreement. Remember, the carrot is that you will pay a higher price for their business, but it will be structured over a long period of time with a balloon payment, and you know the deal. I am today here for our final session to discuss with you how to do your first board meeting, which is one of the most important things in your project. And I'm recording the call, by the way. I want to make sure I tell you that. And I hope you don't mind me recording the call. Oh, okay. So the intention of today's call is to make sure that you have your first successful board meeting, and how you do your board meeting will dictate everything that happens in the company after that. And it's the one of the most important documents in your company is going to be the shareholders agreement. So board meeting is just board meeting. You do the presentation, you present the deal, and you get the approval for the deal. It's not something complicated. But before the board meeting, there's going to be a shareholders meeting. Okay, and I will create a distinction between shareholders and board. What is that? Okay, so we'll start with the top. First, there's going to be your company, okay, the holding company, and then there's going to be an SPV, okay, and then there's going to be an operating company, and then there's going to be the hospital. I'll show you a quick diagram of this so that you can you see my screen? Yes. Okay. So this is the structure of the transaction, Braulio. This is the structure that I was proposed by my lawyer, and this is the structure many QLMNTs follow, but this is not the only structure possible. So I want you to really make a note of that this is not the only structure that you can follow, and maybe it won't be the structure that you would follow in Mexico, because each country's law is different, each jurisdiction is different. Do what the lawyers tell you to do, okay, on your board. Like have them have the final word on this, okay? But I'm giving you, this is an example, all right? I want you to look at this as an example. So typically speaking, there's going to be your holding company here. And typically holding company don't have an operating function in the entity. So you will form a separate company which will be responsible for operations. All right. And then you will have an SPV, which is a special purpose vehicle. and then you'll have the hospital that you're acquiring. This is the typical structure.
Okay.
Now, you and the board are here at the top. It's also known as a top co. This is a company that you will follow before you acquire each company. The reason is, once you have 10 entities, let's say one of them goes bad, you could just remove this from your portfolio and the holding company remains virgin. So if there is any bad debt, for example, or anything like that, it will be here. The debt is going to be sitting here. Any financing, even equity, is going to be sitting here. It's not going to be here. This is you and the shareholders, safe. If you have any investor, it can come here with the bank. All the loan documents will be signed here. Again, this is a possible structure. This added layer is going to provide safety to this holding company. Because if this owns directly this, then you have you will contaminate all the other projects. So that's why you have the SPV. It's a special purpose vehicle. So that's again, speak to your lawyers, consult your lawyers, and come up with the structure. But this is the structure we are following. Okay. Then we have OpCo, which is operating company, and this provides services to clinic here, the hospital, and this charges management fees to the hospital. So you can pay yourself a salary through OpCo. Okay. Once the loan is repaid, then all the dividends of the hospital, the profits of the hospital, you can flow it up into the holding company here and gather it here. So now what happens is, this starts to accumulate cash, and then you can use this as equity in future deals. And you can use this to buy out any shareholders that you might have, or legal fees, or acquire other companies. Over time, you want to increase this pool of capital here, and through the OpCo, you want to pay yourself a salary. Okay. This is a possible structure. Again, I'm repeating myself, I know, but this is the structure we are following. I don't know if this is going to work in Mexico. You have your legal advisors who will tell you exactly how to structure the transaction, how do you get paid yourself only, because you are the only executive, and maybe it will be the CFO or a CEO, depending on who you hire. How the structuring of that happens legally, your legal director will consult. Okay. We will talk now about this. This is where the beehive is. Okay. And you are the queen bee or the king bee. Okay. Here is what the board meeting will have. Okay. It's going to have signing of the documents. It will be introduction of the board, and there will be presentation of the entire vision, the project, Phoenix Holding, and then there's going to be deal approval. Okay.
The presentation is about the pipeline, or the targets in the pipeline, or the next deals.
Both. It's going to be the vision of your company. What is Phoenix Holdings? Why Phoenix Holdings? What is the purpose of the company? How many acquisitions are you going to do? The big picture presentation. Okay. And then there's going to be pipeline, discussion on the pipeline, and then there's going to be deal approval on the first deal, for example. Okay. All right. Now, there's an added spice to the signing of the documents, which I will cover. This is the most critical part. Okay, this is a very critical part. How you do this, and how, in what fact pattern you do this, will dictate whether you get thrown out or not from the board. Okay, and if you don't do this right, there is a chance where you can get thrown out of the board. Okay, I want you to be very, very aware of that. My role here on this call is to protect that from happen, and I'll tell you the way to do it so that it's going to be bulletproof, and that'll never happen. But if you don't do this right, that can happen. And Dan Binya covered this very extensively, how to do it. Okay. The documents are going to be mainly shareholders agreement, and maybe you will get into a director service agreement. We will see. But it's mainly going to be shareholders agreement. So let me create a distinction between the shareholders and the directors. Okay. So shareholders are the owners of the company. Okay, you are a shareholder. There are other who are minor owners of the company. And then there are directors, which represent the ownership of the shareholders. They are not the same. In our scenario, the shareholders and the directors are the same, but in actuality, they are not the same. They're two different things. They're two different positions. A person can be a shareholder of a company and have a different director representing his ownership. For example, I can hold 15% in a public company or in any company, and I might have, for example, my CFO that is the director of that company, and I don't go there. I am on Bahamas or Monaco, and I send my CFO, and he represents my interests. So he's the director, and I'm the shareholder. The shareholders are the one with power. Okay, and they are the ones who control the board. And guess who is the major shareholder in your company? It's you. I am. And you are going to be the one who's going to have the most power if you structure the shareholders in the right manner. And I want you to pay attention to what I'm about to tell you, because this will dictate how much power you have, whether you get thrown out or not, if someone threatens you, what to do, and what are the levels of power you will have, and what to do. So I want to offer the maximum protection to your position. And I want to make sure that you have the maximum share at the exit, maximum equity position, and maximum power and maximum decision-making power. And I want to make sure that if you don't like someone, you can remove them with minimum consequence. Okay. So there are some interesting dynamics that are going to happen at this point. You need to know your position, and you need to do this right, because I faced with a challenge and I handled it. And I was deviating from what Dan said, because when you're under pressure, it can happen. Okay. And I was under pressure and I was fucking it up. I knew what I should be doing intellectually, but emotionally I was fucking it up. So be careful if you don't do this right. And I got saved because one of my shareholders sat down with me on the call and he told me, the future of your company is going to be different. You need to take a decision. Don't do this, what you're doing. And he was advising me in line with what Mr. Pena advised. And I was deviating from that. And he said, don't do this, come back. And he convinced me out of it. And I did the right thing, and I have the maximum power. So I want to make sure you do the same. And I will tell you how to deal with if there are any concerns. For me, okay, I'll cover it. For me, out of 8 people, 7 people agreed, and there was one person who came up with some issues, and that became a hiccup. Okay, so I'll tell you how to deal with it, and I'll tell you what the hiccups are and how to mitigate that. Okay.
Hey, quick question: how big uh, does the QLA model recommend or suggest? How big should be the board of directors? I'm hearing that your board is 9 people with you or 8 people with you.
Mine is 8 people with me. So it was actually 6 people agreed, and then one person was, proposing some things that will dilute my power. It won't dilute my equity position, but it will dilute my power.
Okay, is there any suggestion for how big should be the board of directors? Because now I have it's not the problem, but I have to start making decisions because I have to remove some couple of board members because we are like more than 15. So I'm thinking maybe we can talk about this later, but I'm thinking to have a board of directors and have the advisory board too. So I can separate the board of directors from the advisory board because I know that we are a lot of people because we start like that, and actually you and I talk about it. But now I'm feeling that some of those people they don't have the right fit. So I will remove some of them, and other ones maybe I put them like in advisory boards.
Yeah. You are the one who will judge this better because you know who's performing and who's not.
Yeah.
If they don't pick up your calls or show up or are very flaky, they commit to meetings, they don't come, they're not that committed, and either that or they're not that valuable to the company or something like that. You know who they are. Just remove them and keep the major players. Look at their CVs as well before you do that, because sometimes you have not fully realized the value of a shareholder because you don't speak to them. So consider all those factors and make a decision. 15 is a very big board, but you could have, let's say, like 9 people plus advisory or 8 people plus advisory. The number doesn't matter so much, but the good thing is that you have replacements. So that's always good because few of them fall off. It's a good news. You can just keep going without having to worry about finding board members. That's the reason why I built a large board. Anelli, who has built up a portfolio of $350 million valuation, and he has a board of I think 4 or 5 people.
Right.
Okay, so my board, even though we are 8 people, is still considered large. Right? But I have the repetitive roles. I have 1 person, 2 people finance, 2 legal, and 2 healthcare. So make a decision. I leave that to you. And I will now cover the elements of the most important document, which will dictate how much power you will have and how, as the company evolves, who's the king of the kingdom. So
Can I have this presentation later?
Oh yes, you can.
All right.
So I hope you enjoyed the video and you got inspired by it. I have a proposal for you. If you are someone who wants to get into a position just like Braulio, who had little or nothing, and now he's in a position of doing multi-million-dollar deals. If you are someone who wants to get into a position of doing multi-million-dollar deals, starting with little or no money, By multi-million dollar deals, I mean buying multi-million dollar businesses. In fact, buying majority stake in a multi-million dollar business, not just one business, but several businesses, and build a portfolio over time to ultimately exit and make a bunch of money. If you are interested in that, then I have a proposal for you. I have a mentorship program where I train entrepreneurs one-on-one in this model, in this business model. This is something that I have discovered after paying over 40,000 pounds in mentorship. And I have applied it. I have gotten to a position where I have negotiated and worked on a $3 million transaction, a $10 million transaction, a $2 million transaction, a $25 million transaction, a $120 million transaction. I have worked on these deals. I have gotten into a position where I can meet the decision makers of these companies and sit down and have a conversation about acquisitions, business acquisitions. And I have trained this entrepreneur that you saw, Braulio, in doing that. What you just saw was the final session where he got trained in finding deals. He found a deal, and now he has, several individuals as advisors who are training him. They are almost twice his age, and he's really in a very powerful position. And when he had come, he had nothing. And this happened over a period of few months. And this happened to me also in over a few months. So if you want to execute this, if you want to apply this in your life, I have a proposal that you can message me on Instagram and set up a free consultation call. On this free consultation call, we will discover what you want, what your goals are, and how we can accomplish it, and how you can implement this model in your country, in your city. So I know this works in US, London, UK, Canada. I have trained another entrepreneur to do this in India. I have trained Braulio, who is from Mexico City. So it not only works in places like United States and UK, but it also works in the third world countries. It depends where you are. So if you're interested, reach out to me, send me a message. I'm going to put the link somewhere down below of my Facebook and my Instagram. And you can write me a message there, and you can refer to this video. And if you are serious, we will set up a free consultation call. Now, I cannot work with everybody because of my time. My time only allows me to work with over 3 to 4 individuals in a 3 to 6 month period. So within 6 months, I can only work with 3 to 4 people. And, those positions can get filled pretty fast. So I urge you, if you're someone who wants to execute this, who wants to learn this, and who wants to implement this, then reach out to me. Now, here is the deal. I do not schedule when we are doing a mentorship program and we are doing sessions. You will go through session number 1. And until you execute everything from that session number 1, we don't go to session number 2. And until you execute everything that is to be done in session number 2, we don't go to session number 3. So this is the reason why mentorships can last between 3 to 6 months. And in some cases, even 9 months. Because I really don't want to leave anybody behind. When I work with someone, I want to make sure that I get them across. Now, you have to be serious, because I don't work with non-serious people. So you have to make sure that you execute the steps. You have to make sure that you're serious about this, and you have to make sure that you make sacrifices. This is not for everybody. This is for only few select people who I call are winners in life, and winners give up a lot to win. You know, you look at Michael Phelps, Michael Jordan, they give up almost everything to be exceptional in their fields. And that is not for everybody. So if you are someone, if you consider yourself to be one of them, and if you consider yourself, and even if you want to be like one of them, then this can be for you. So reach out to me, send me a message, let's set up the free consultation call, and let's see if we can move forward working together over 3 to 6 months period of time, where I will tell you exactly how to build a team of highly experienced, high-profile advisors that will advise you on how to run your company and how to analyze multi-million-dollar deals. And these are going to be your board of directors. You know, if you heard in the videos, Braulio was referring to COO, CEO, CFO. So these are technical terms. Don't get worried about them. You will learn everything about them. Now, he did not have anybody when he was starting off. He was just a one-man army, and he had nothing. He just had a PowerPoint presentation. And just from that, he built a team of 15 advisors without paying them in cash. You do have to pay them in equity in your company, shares in your company, but that's okay. You're not paying anything from your cash. And shares just mean that once the company is successful, then they will receive the money. So I will tell you exactly how to do that. That's a preliminary step to doing multi-million-dollar deals. Once you have done that, opportunities just open up. Why? Because any door you knock, you have all these high-profile names in your company, and people want to talk to you. People want to do business with you. People want to take meetings with you. So that's an essential step. You will have, just to give a background, if you execute the steps properly, you will have one of the top lawyers in the country who is retired advising you with 25 to 30 years of experience. This man will be from one of the top international law firms in the world. I will help you get in touch with this person in your country, and he will advise you on all the legal matters in your company. Then you will have a similar profile, again, top international, finance expert on your team, top international accounting expert in your country. You will have, as your advisor, and you will have top, CEOs of major healthcare companies or several, healthcare clinics or hospitals, major CEOs of these companies to be also part of your company. And they will mentor you from all different angles. You will have all the experience you need on the board to help you execute this. You do not personally have to have experience. You can leverage these people's experience. And this is the reason why we build a team. Because something of this nature requires a lot of experience. It needs experience in finance, legal. It will need experience in operations. And you will put all those pieces together to rely on their experience and leverage their track record to open up opportunities. So this will be the preliminary step. I will help you get in touch with major banks in your country. So all the major banks that provide lending, provide financing for doing deals. You will be learning how to get in touch with the right people in the banks, because, banking is a very bureaucratic organization. Any bank has over 1,000 employees. So how do you know you're talking to the right person? So I'll help you get at the top. One of the senior executives in the banks, how to do meetings with them, how to interview with them, how to negotiate with them. I will cover all of that. I will cover how to find acquisition candidates, which is multi-million dollar businesses in your city, in your country, just with using your phone. You saw that in the last few sessions. And ultimately, I will tell you how to negotiate purchase price of these businesses, negotiate with them, come to an agreement on the price, and how to finance these deals. There are several ways of financing. You would be surprised that exist. And once you understand these ways of financing, you will almost never use your own money to do business. You will always use other people's money. So I will teach you how to do that, and I'll ultimately position you in the best possible way where you will have access to these high-profile individuals, multi-million dollar deals, senior bankers. If you do it right, you will be doing over, couple of hundred presentations. Imagine the transformation that will happen to you over a couple of hundred presentations. And imagine what you would learn from these individuals, these sort of mentors, these army of mentors that will be around you, protecting you. And you would really find yourself in a very powerful leadership role. I'm in that position. Braulio is in that position. I'm not teaching you something that I have not done. It's something that I'm doing right now. So I walk the talk, and people around me know that. So that's in essence what you will learn in the mentorship program. And this pre-consultation call is just to understand if this is right for you or not. I only work with serious people. So I just want to make sure that when you reach out to me, make sure you're serious about this and you're seriously considering moving forward. And then we can have the call and, hopefully we can move forward. But remember, I can only work with 3 to 4 people given the time that I have to give to my business. I do the same thing. So it requires a lot of time. So I can only take 3 to 4 people. If you are one of them, reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or email. I'm going to leave the links for all of them. I'll talk to you soon.